Hi, I am Susan Burgard and I am going to do a Cricut tutorial. This one should be complete with no interruptions, no technical difficulties since it's pre-recorded. I'm sure everybody understands the internet issues that have been going on. Mine just kept cutting out today every time I tried to do it. So we are going to be working on some Cricut layouts. I have this adventure layout that we are going to put together today, and everybody will get the link for design space for the file if you wanted to create it yourself. And then for everybody who's prize qualified, I put together 2 more bonus layouts that I'm going to email your consultants the instructions, and which has the link for it if you wanted to make those as well. So that's sort of a special bonus for everybody who is prize qualified. So this is the fresh air and wide open spaces. I just love those sayings for this COVID times we're in and how we have to be in wide open spaces. And then our family loves to camp, so I put together a camping adventure. I think a lot of people are planning camping trips this summer where you can get away. So that is the 3rd layout, and I'll post all the materials as well for everybody. And just a little bit about myself. I have been with Close to My Heart since January, but I have been using the products for quite a few years. I just decided it was finally time to jump in, share it with family and friends, and also get a discount on everything I've been purchasing. So, but I'm having a lot of fun being part of this retreat and hope to do more tutorials in the future. The first thing I wanted to show everybody, in case you missed it last night, was how you can get the Cricut images from Close to My Heart, because it's not, I struggled when they came out with the Aurora ones to find them, and I just wanted to show everybody because it's not the easiest. And if you've been frustrated trying to find it and haven't found it, hopefully you can find it after tonight. So the first thing I want to show, when you get to, you first want to go to your consultant's webpage. That's the easiest way I found, is to start there. So my webpage is susanscraps.closetomyheart.com. And so on any of the pages, once you get into your consultant's page, if you scroll to the bottom, there's a bunch of icons at the bottom, and one of them is the Cricut icon. So if you click that, it'll bring you to the Cricut page where you can buy them. I just want to show you one thing quick before we do that. And it's any page when you're shopping, so you could be on any page shopping for paper, and that icon will still be there. If you get into the shopping area and you click on Cricut Collections, you'll see that the images aren't there, and I just wanted to show you so you know that's not where you find them. But what they do have there are 2 of the older cartridges where you can still buy the physical cartridge. Cricut doesn't do the physical cartridges anymore, so these are some older image sets that Close to My Heart had, and you can buy them digitally through Cricut. I believe they're like $49.99 on Cricut's webpage, so it's a little bit cheaper here. If you're willing to wait and want to purchase these through Close to My Heart, you also get, and I'll sort of expand this, you get these 3 stamp sets that are all designed to coordinate with those Cricut sets. It's a little bit better of a deal because you get 3 D-size stamps. When you get the cartridge, you can link it to your account on Design Space. You'll have them all digitally. It's just that you'll have to pay shipping and wait for it, so you can't get it immediately. So I just wanted to point those out. I am going to use a couple images out of Artistry in the first layout that I do, and I think also some of the additional bonus layouts that I have. And then the other one that they have right now is You Are Here, which I use a tent image on one of my bonus layouts. So I just wanted to show those, but like I said, if you scroll to the bottom of any page, there's always this Cricut icon that links right to your consultant's affiliate website on Cricut. So here you can see there's the new Stitch Together, the Aurora set. I'm going to be using an image out of this Everyday Moments, and then Complete Creativity. Now these first 4 sets are all newer sets that came out in the past year, so the only way to get those would be to purchase them here. You can't get those images in Cricut Access. If you're not familiar with Cricut Access, Cricut Access, and I can sort of click on up here is where you'd get into that. It basically allows you access to a lot of the images that are on Cricut. So there's different ways that you can pay for it. They have like the $9.99 a month. I think it comes out to like $10.95 with tax. That's what I do because I can easily cancel it at any time and then add it back on when I know I want to use a bunch of images, so I'm not paying for all the images. And then they have like a cheaper if you pay for it annually. And the one benefit is that you get, like they say, you get 10% savings on everything. So even these close to my heart cartridges or image sets that we looked at, like if you got Cricut Access first and then went to buy them, you'd get 10% off. So I just wanted to let you know about that in case you're interested, or if you already have Cricut Access or decide to get it, you will get access now to all of the other close to my heart images. They added those all into Cricut Access, so that's sort of nice if you don't have some of those and wanted to use a lot of them. You could just do the Cricut Access and have access to everything. So that sort of shows you how to use, how to get all the Cricut images. You need to have the images to be able to do these layouts. You can't, that's the one thing with Cricut, is you have to own the images or have Cricut Access if they're a Cricut Access image to be able to cut them. So you'll still be able to watch everything today and understand how to use Cricut, but without those images or owning them, you wouldn't be able to create the layouts that we do today. So moving on, I will show you now how to do the layouts in Cricut. Okay, so now we're going to start our project. So I'm going to just start out, this is just sort of the welcome screen that you get on Cricut Design Space, and I am going to hit New Project and bring up a brand new canvas. When I'm starting to put together like a 2-page or even a single page scrapbook page, I like to use their template just to help me with the spacing and laying everything out. So we're going to click on Templates and scroll down, and they have like templates for all kinds of things. And I'm going to go to Scrapbook Layout. It's really hard to see the template right now, but I'll show you how to fix that. We want to do a double page layout. I'm just on the top left here, and then it automatically defaults to 12 by 12. You could do a custom size if you had wanted to do a different size for a page. And then, like I said, I think it's hard to see right now because it's white on white. So I like to change it to this light gray just so that I can see the pages. They have other colors, but I find them like a little distracting because of the white grid lines. So I like to use the gray. That's my personal preference. So that's sort of how I start. So I sort of have like, I have 2 pieces of paper sitting in front of me, and I'm going to start cutting. The next thing we'll do is we'll start putting our images in that we want to use. So when you click on images, I know a big complaint with the newest redesign that Cricut did is it's hard to find your images. And part of the problem is that when you come up here, it's searching what it says, 100,000 plus images, and so it's hard to find what you really want. I find it a lot easier if you know of that you have an image of something that you've purchased is to search within your own stuff. So the best way to do that is if you go over here where it says highlighted categories on the left, then there's this image sets. If you click on that, it'll put everything into the image sets. And then I like to filter it out. So under ownership, if you do this plus sign and say, I just want to look at the ones that I've purchased, it brings up just all the stuff that I own. So it's a lot easier to quickly find the cartridge and the images that I want to use. So I'm going to first start with everyday moments. And I'm just going to type in every. Oh, I didn't like that. Okay, every day. It's very specific here. I'm going to click on that image set, and one thing I just want to share with, I love these like everyday moments and the complete creativity, because they've, close to my heart, has put together these whole designs that are ready to go. Like all you have to do is insert this image, and then hit cut and use your papers. So, I mean, there's some great, like a lot of them are one page, but you could easily, after today, hopefully make a second page to go with it if you had wanted to. There's a couple of these that are 2-page layouts. So they're simple, like super fast to create something, and they're gorgeous. So today we're going to take this adventure. I really liked this adventure one, but it wasn't in the size that I wanted. So I thought this would be a great one to play with for this tutorial. So I'm not going to quite insert it yet, but you can see it popped up here that it's going to go onto my canvas. We're going to go back, and now we're going to look for the Aurora set. And these are all the images in the Aurora. Today we're going to use this arrowhead, we're going to use this location marker, we're going to use the trees, we're going to use this arrow, and this chevron. And we need a couple images from the artistry. This has a lot of images within it, so we're just going to quick search. One is this striped pentagon. And as I click these, you can see there's the green around it, and it just pops it down here, and that's how you know it's gonna, all these are what we've been selecting and are gonna go into our canvas. And then the last one we need is the good life. So now that we have them all, I'm just going to hit insert images. It's going to just throw them all out there. And I'm just going to take a bunch of these and just move them down out of the way off of our page for now until we need them. When I started doing these layouts to sort of start them from scratch, I actually took like every image from Aurora and just threw it onto my canvas so I could look at everything as I was going, so I didn't have to keep going back. So I feel it's like better just to throw more images onto your canvas than what you think you might need as you're starting to lay out and plan stuff, and you can just delete it later if you don't end up using it. But that way you don't have to keep going back and searching for the image that you want. Even when I was trying to find like this image off artistry, I put like 3 or 4 that I liked and then played with them and figured out which one I liked the best. So now I just have this one image from Everyday Moments. You can see it's all like grouped together right now, so I can move it all together. And what I want to do is resize this background so it's going to work on our 12 by 12 layout pages. So the first thing I'm going to do is on the top right here, I'm going to go to Ungroup. And once I do that, it's going to make each part of that an individual item that we can move around. So the first thing I'm going to do is delete a few of the things that we don't need. So I'm not going to use these pluses. I took those off. I'm going to select the binder clip and we're going to delete that. Then the adventure lettering is in 2 layers. There's the white and then what's in like the peacock color. So on the right hand side, I'm going to select both of those layers, and I select one, and then I just hit Control and then click on the next one to select both. And then I'm going to hit Group up here just to group them back together so that as I move them, they're in a group. And the advantage of that too is then if you were to like resize it, it would resize as a group too. Just going to hit undo there because I don't want to resize that in the end. Now I find when I hit undo, I lose my template. And I don't know why Cricut does that. But you can easily get it back at any time. You can go back to templates, go to scrapbook layout. It'll bring up the single page. Yeah, just do double. Change the color so we can see it. And we're good. Okay. Now I'm going to select the 2 pieces that go to the photo mat here, and I'm going to group those as well. keep those together. Move these down. I'm going to delete this arrow. We're not going to use that. And then the other piece I'm not going to use is this solid piece that's at the back of this. So I'm just going to delete. Oh, that time I deleted the wrong one. So now, oops, clicking the wrong button. We want to go to template. Gotta scrap the template back up. Everybody gets frustrated in design space at some point when it does weird things. Okay, so if you accidentally select the wrong thing, one way to try and avoid that is if you go on the right hand side, you can see everything, and if I click on it there and then hit delete, I'll get the right thing. So, and then I want to group together both of these so that as we resize them, they resize together. So we're going to select both of those and then hit group again up on the top right. So there's a couple ways we can resize this, but right now this is locked. Like you can see up here, there's like a little lock and it's shut. So what that means is when you resize it, it's going to keep the scaling between the width and the height of how it originally was. So there's a little lock button here where we could unlock it. Then we can drag it however we want, or we can also unlock it up here. And I can make it, just type in what I want. So I'm going to put that I want 11¼ inches wide, and I want this to be 11¼ high. And so then we have our custom sized background. Now I want to make a copy of this. So for the other page, there's 3 ways you can copy. You could hit Control C and then Control V, and it will make a copy. We will move that over here for a second. The other way that you can copy is up here under Edit. You could go to Copy, and then it'll let you paste. Or when you have it selected, the other method that you could do is up on the top right, there's this duplicate. If you click that, it'll duplicate it as well. Click delete that one. So there's 3 different ways, whatever you're most comfortable with. When I'm used to using all the keyboard shortcuts, so I tend to do the Control C, Control V. I find it a little bit faster, but whatever your preference is. Then with this, I wanted to get this center of this starburst to be more towards the center of the 2-page layout, like this other one on the left side. So I selected that, and then up at the top, you'll see this flip, which basically lets you mirror something. And so I flipped it on the horizontal axis. So we're going to flip it, and then it just automatically mirrors it for me. So that is the background. And then next I'm going to add my photo mats. We're going to add this one, and if you see, when you select the image, it tells you the height and the width and height of it at the top here. So it already is what I want it to be. It's 6.25 by 4.25, so the photo size then, the white piece, is actually 4 by 6. So, which is what I like to do. I don't have to do any cutting on my photo. But it brought it behind this other element. So to fix that, if we go to Arrange and we just click this arrow and say send it to the front, it'll put it on in front of the other image to arrange it so you can see it better. Then I want to sort of make a few more photo mats. So I'm going to duplicate this one. And then I want this one to be vertical. So I'm going to rotate it. You could use this blue button, but I find if you're like know that you're going to rotate like 90 degrees, it's easier up at the top here to go to rotate and just put in 90 degrees to get it perfectly rotated. And then we can move that where we want. Then I'm going to just duplicate this and create another copy. And that one goes over here. And then I'm just going to make another copy. And over here, I'm going to unlock the size at the top. I want to keep the width the same, but I want to make it shorter into, so it's for like a 3x4 picture. So I just make that change there, and then I wanted to duplicate that twice. And I have 3 of them. Quick lay these out. Now I don't like fiddle too much with exactly like making sure everything's spaced perfectly or aligned. You could select each of these, and I just select them. I click one, then I hit shift, or I think even control works. I just select each one, and then up at the very top there's this align, and you could align it like to the right on the right hand side. It'll like shift everything to be perfectly aligned. I don't usually do that when I'm going to cut it out and be putting it together by hand anyways. It doesn't really matter on the computer screen. And now that we have those photo mats, I think we're ready to put all the embellishments on. So I am going to do the first page. We're going to add this adventure title back on, and I'm going to move that to the front under arrange, send to front so we can see it. Then I use this location marker instead of the binder clip. So we're going to move that to the front so we can see it. I just rotated it a little bit so it looked fun, and I made it a little bit smaller. Oops. So the scale was better. And then I'm going to duplicate that once I got the scale right. And I moved it over here. And I just rotated it sort of the other way. And you wouldn't even have to worry about trying to rotate it if you were making something and you knew you just needed it cut twice. But I was trying to make it look perfect. Then we're going to move this over, this pentagon. I really liked this element for journaling, but if you didn't want to journal, you could put a sticker or another embellishment on that. Lots of things you could do, and I think I made it a little bit bigger. And then I put this in front of that. Then we have our little banners. And these went over here. I did end up, just to have a little more contrast in colors, cutting out, oops. And again, if you have trouble selecting something, if you go to the right hand side, it'll help you select it. This one's being fussy. It just doesn't want to be selected or move. So for this little one, I actually cut this out of the zip strip of one of the Aurora papers. So you could always change it. I just wanted a little more contrast to what I could see here when I put it all together. Select this, and I'm going to bring these to the front. And then I'll bring the photo to the front. This is where sometimes you're fiddling with the layers and how they're arranged. And then the last part over there is this arrow, chevron arrow. And I'm going to arrange and send it to the front. Perfect. Then I created a little arrowhead cluster instead of those pluses, if you remember from the original. I really took what they had for an original layout and just changed out some of the elements to make it unique for Aurora. So that's one of the great things about these everyday moments and the complete creativity is it's really simple to make a few little changes and have a bunch of different layouts that you can create. So I'm going to make the larger one. I'm going to duplicate it, put it down here, and just make it a little bit smaller. And then I'm going to duplicate it once more, put it up here, and then I made it that one a little smaller yet. Oops, not that small. Then the arrowheads, I did another cluster, so I'm going to, on the right hand side here, select each of them, and I'm going to group them together. And then once I group them, if I duplicate, I'll get all three in a group. So I use those up over here on this page on the right. And you can also, like, I could resize these too if I'm like, oh, those are a little big. So I could resize it. And then I use this Good Life. And you'll notice I'm not fixing the colors yet, and we will get to that. So I'm going to arrange and bring that to the front. And I might need to move this picture down just a little bit. And then this arrow just went up here. We have to go to arrange, send it to the front. I sort of covered up that other piece of the Good Life with the arrow. Then the last element is these trees. So those at the bottom here. I'm going to go arrange and send to front. Easier to grab those, and I made them a little bit bigger. Not too much. And then we're going to duplicate it. And I have two of them sort of side by side. And that is all the elements of the layout. So it wasn't as bad as you thought. Looks complicated, but it wasn't too bad. Close to My Heart did more of the work for us. So to get all the colors though to look right, we're going to go to Color Sync. Color Sync is one of my favorite things because it helps make sure that you have all the colors matching, because sometimes if you add different elements, the reds are different or other elements are different. The one nice thing that I've found with the Close to My Heart images is it seems like they try to put them in their own custom, like Close to My Heart colors. So you'll notice that all their elements match their paper colors. So it's sort of nice because then, you know, all the colors are very similar between all their image sets, where they tend to all be like the same colors that are showing up. So it makes it really, but it also makes it easy to know what colors you should be pulling out to cut everything. So for the changes I made on colors, that's this title stripe pentagon. I made the top part in linen, and so all the stuff that's in white, I actually used linen because I wanted it to be a little more muted. I used the background of the Good Life. I did that in the linen. And then I did the background of this arrow so that that peacock would really pop. I did that in the linen. So you can see how much it pops once you do that. And so those were the changes I made there. So everything that, it looks like white, I used linen, but you could use white too if that's all you had in your stash to cut this out. For the, I left these starbursts as they were. I used mint for that. For the pictures, I used peacock. I felt like that just really stood out on everything the best. So I'm going to move all these picture mats down to this peacock color. And all you do is you click on it and you just drag it down. It's really simple to get all your colors arranged how you want. And then for this pentagon shape, I did the background, I used the peacock there, and then also on the Good Life, I used the peacock. So we're just going to move that up. And as you can see, we're consolidating in how many colors we have. And then for the trees, I also kept those with the same mint and peacock colors. But you'll see, like on one of them, I made the single tree the mint, and one I did peacock. So I'm going to take the first one and I made it the lighter mint color. So I'm going to take that tree, drag it down to the lighter mint, and hopefully I get the same set here. And then drag it down and make it peacock. So yeah, you can see here it made the one light, and then those are peacock. I'm going to make this single one the peacock then, and then make these match this lighter, so you can just sort of see how I got that variety. And I think that is it. So it is ready to cut. I just want to show you one trick when you go to cut this. So first, like I said, I don't actually print out or cut the photo mats because I find it's a little more efficient to do it yourself, because Cricut wastes paper a little bit when it cuts around stuff. So to do that, if you go back to layers, and if we scroll down and find these photo mats, there's a little eye. If you just click on the eye, it'll just hide it, and then it won't try and cut it out. So we're just going to quick hide all of the photo mats. So now that we have all those hidden, it's ready to cut. And so you just go up to the very top on the right and say make it. If you didn't own the images at this time, it might say you need to purchase these. Now, I don't know why this is acting up and putting these wherever it needs to, but obviously this needs a little work to get these organized right. So whenever you're in the screen, you can click on these images and you can move them around. So if you wanted to have this fit on like an 8x8 sheet of paper, you could rearrange everything so that it fits on your paper that you have. So like I can quick move some of these around and get it on as small of a piece, or try and match a scrap that I have. So I like to keep my scraps right with my paper, like I have everything organized by the color and folders, and then I can go and grab and look for a scrap if I have it in the color that I'm working with, if I don't need a full sheet. And then you can even like rotate these to try and make them fit better on here. So that way it gives it a little more space when it goes to cut. So that's sort of a trick on how you can arrange your mats. The other thing you can do, I'm going to click down on this, actually we're going to go down to mat 7. There's this one lonely banner, and there's room on one of the other mats to have it fit. So there's these 3 white dots in the little blue circle. If you click on that and say I want to move this object, it'll bring up all your mats, and you can pick where you want to move it. So I'm going to say I want to move it here, and you just hit confirm. Going to just throw it there, but then I can take it and move it to like a empty space where it can get cut, and then it'll do it. And then you would just hit continue, and you'll see that now I only have the 2 mats. I don't have that extra mat now. Now when you're in this layout, you can still click on something and you can say edit, and you can still move stuff around. So it's not too late when you're in that cutting stage to also do that. It's just not quite as easy, but it is possible. So that is how you make it. I just wanted to go back. We're going to hit cancel. And I wanted to show you one more thing that you can do. Yes, we want to cancel. I wanted to show you how I made that air title in one of my bonus layouts by welding, because I think welding is a great skill to know how to do in Cricut, because it helps you make titles with words. So we're just going to scroll down a little bit. I'm going to steal one of these sets of trees. We're going to use that. And then we're going to put some text in. And I want the font to be from Art Philosophy. So I'm going to start typing in art, and the close to my heart, Art Philosophy, that's the font I want to use. And then I'm going to put in air. I'll drag it down here. And I'm just going to resize this. I made it like super big. And then when you do the text, when you first write a word, it's all grouped together. But just like the other groupings, you can ungroup text so that you can edit each individual letter. So I'm going to take this air, I'm going to go up to the top right here, and I'm going to say ungroup. And then each letter is now an individual letter, so I'm going to delete the I. And then I'm going to take, I want my tree, I'm going to resize it. Oops, not quite that big. And then I'm going to ungroup it now that I have the sizing where I like it, because the only tree I want to use when I do my welding is that lighter color right now. So I'm just going to set this over to the side. Now I find it easier when I'm trying to get letters lined up to weld, because they're already aligned at the bottom right now when you did the text. So I like to use the arrows on my keyboard if I can, so that I don't mess with the alignment of them. But you could always use that align at the top, I guess, to help you align them once you get them where you want. So I just use the arrows, and you got to get everything so that they're touching, so that when you weld it, it becomes all one piece. So I move the R over, and I'm just using the arrows on my keyboard to move these over. But you could, like I said, you could move it yourself with your mouse. So I'm just going to move this over till they're touching. I'm going to move it one more. And now that I like where they're at, I got to select each element, and I'm just going to hit Control and then select each one until they're all selected. And on the lower right hand side you can see where it says weld. I'm going to click that, and it'll automatically weld it. It's going to put it into the color of one of the things, but we can always change that. And then I can just move back this other element and try and get it to fit back there. It doesn't have to be perfect, but close enough. And then I'm going to select what I just welded with that, and I have that selected. I'm going to group them again. And the advantage of that is, again, like I can like resize to whatever I want for my layout. And then if we went to like color sync, we could just take that air, pull it up to the linen or the white, and get that right away. Now we don't have an evergreen color selected right now, so I can't color sync the trees to an evergreen. So if you have an individual element like that you want to change, on the right hand side you could just select it, and then if you go up here, this is the color of that element. So you could just click that and then find, and I mean you can pick any color. I'm just going to pick this dark green, and then it changes it. So now if we went over to that color sync, you would see that green color for that tree. So that's sort of a simple how to weld. I love to do it with words to create like titles and have them all cut out and in one piece. So it's a lot easier to glue onto my page. I'm lazy. But I hope you enjoyed the tutorial and learned something today, and I can't wait to see everybody's creations that they make in Cricut.